What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of In Praise of Shadows Breakdown, where we're going to be talking about, of course, In Praise of Shadows, aka Zane, and all the shenanigans that he's been involved in by trying to slander some of the largest creators on YouTube. Of course, this might probably be one of the last videos I have to end up making on this guy, hopefully. So far, he has ended up deleting almost everything related to it. He ended up deleting the Wendigoon section of his video. He ended up deleting the entire video, which then he would make a community post apologizing, which would also be deleted. So we're going to be diving in, breaking all of this down. So get comfy. Alright, so first things first, I want to thank Chris the Narc on X for archiving all of this. You know, usually when it comes to tweets, posts like this, controversial things, they end up getting deleted, and Chris the Narc made it extremely easy to find all of this in order on his page, almost every reply, every screenshot, so real big ups to him for that. But again, Shadows would end up editing the Wendigoon section out of his video, which is basically the last hour, and shortly after that, he would end up just deleting the entire video, which is pretty funny because he was making this whole stink about how like he couldn't pay rent anymore. And you know, one of his most popular videos of the last year or so, mainly, you know, it's because of drama and controversy, but it still was one of his most popular videos, and he would just end up deleting it. So all that ad revenue or potential ad revenue is just going right in the trash, which to me is pretty stupid. Unless, of course, he ended up getting like age restricted or ad limited, because he did cover like a few controversial topics that YouTube doesn't like when you talk about, you know, like the neo-Nazi stuff, racism stuff, slurs. YouTube gets really finicky with that and how you censor it and if you can even say it at all. So that might be a big cause. Of course, I don't know. I don't have access to his analytics. So that's just my little brainstorm of why he may have just went ahead and deleted it, because it wasn't worth the trouble. Anyways, he talks about how he spent months researching. Researching, of course, is in air quotes, because it didn't seem like he did much research other than like he would find a point and then kind of just drone on about it and say like, well, I saw this thing online and I saw this other post on this forum, so like it must be true. But yeah, spending months working on videos and working on something when you're not getting money for it and then just deleting it is really dumb thing to do. So there's probably going to be another few months of him not having a way to pay bills, which I mean is unfortunate, but you kind of did that to yourself. Shortly after that, he would end up privating his Twitter, which is something we see very often when people, you know, end up making really stupid takes, or they go viral for something really stupid claims. You know, we saw it with the chick who was like, female gamers are treated so terribly and men are ruining gaming. And then, you know, we see this almost every time someone ends up going viral for a tweet or a video that they didn't reach the right audience. You know, they want to reach the stooges and they actually end up on the level-headed side of YouTube and they can't really handle it, so they go private. Another funny part is that he would end up making a Patreon post about the video, which is kind of, again, really funny because you're going to monetize an apology, and of course you're going to drone on to people that are already giving you money for your dumb opinions and content. He would end up saying, "Sorry for not saying anything sooner. I wanted to take a few days to clear my head and genuinely listen to the conversation going around this before I addressed it. Flat out, I let my emotions get the best of me here. This wasn't my best work and this wasn't my best self. This was made out of anger, and I should never lower myself to do that. Before I say anything, I should say sorry to you for engaging myself this way. I will not be taking on another project like this again. You know me as being a media analysis channel, and that is what I should be. I should promote love and horror through providing a positive example. I thought that I was doing good here, and I think to an extent I did do some good, but I could have gone about it differently. This was not perfect and needed more time in the oven, pure and simple, and that was totally on me. The past few years have been a very dark time for me. The slow, gradual decline in the channel algorithmically following The Hills Have Eyes had built a genuine sadness that has followed me a lot. The realities of the situation meant that I had to make a new video every month or so. And under those circumstances, there would be times where I would not be satisfied with my work, but still had to publish a video because I'd be broke if I didn't. And after my confrontation with Wendigoon's fans late last year calling me a F-slur, so many times I built up such an anger at how I had been treated that I decided that I wanted to do a video about my personal situation mixed with the deep-growing conservative nature within certain sections of horror. I thought this was a good idea. I thought it would promote a conversation that needed to be had. I thought, and still do think, that his level of social power is dangerous, but my video should have probably just focused on the sections related to The Hills Have Eyes, and I do see that now. On the sections related to Wendigoon's cultural appropriation, I think in particular I could have done better. I know that it's a very tricky thing to talk about topics of gender, women, race, and the history of these concepts as a white dude on the internet, and I always try to do my best there in my work and life. I dropped the ball here in some of my language and logic, and criticism of me on this point is 100% fair. I really hope that you can see that I thought this was important to talk about, and that I thought I was doing good, which is always my goal. I'm sorry to you again that I did not represent myself with the professionalism and standards that I normally hold myself to as a person, and that you deserve as my audience. I will be around for you to ask me any questions or to give me any feedback that you would like to provide. Thank you for understanding. There genuinely is not anything that I could say that could actually represent my real feelings of gratitude towards you all. Just really thank you for everything. Zane. They're gonna just kind of accept it regardless, but some level-headed smart person, or maybe someone who just joined the Patreon knowing there might be more content there, ended up taking a screenshot and then leaking that online. I say leaking again with air quotes because, you know, while it is hidden behind a paywall, you know, when you're making accusations and saying a public apology, you know, at that point it's public. Like, I think anybody should be able to look at that from like a fair use perspective. He also went on Discord to ask his followers if he could come back from this fail, which is just hilarious. Like, I know in the past we've seen Hassan, like, he goes into his community and he'll ask them things like, guys, am I in the wrong here? Guys, please just feed my ego. Guys, please just tell me that I'm in the right and I didn't do anything wrong. So it's super funny to see someone like this guy end up going down that lane where he's asking his minions who are giving him money, like, guys, do you think I can come back and keep making my cringy videos where I call white people bad and call cannibals Native Americans and stupidity like that? And he also ended up taking Shell Lazy's art, which is super dope, dude. That's over on X. You might have seen his art in my video. You probably saw it on the WillyMacShow's thumbnail. And he ended up taking this photo and making it his profile picture because he liked it. Which, I mean, yeah, I like funny art. And, you know, if someone were to draw me really terribly or just really silly, I would like it. But in the original video about, like, the conservative movies, he called out Mutahar for having the Just a Worm art of Keffals, which, again, is similar to Shell Lazy's art, where he will take a character and just draw their features really funny, really silly. Like, he drew this guy, Zane, with, like, a double chin and, like, a long nose and greasy hair and, like, funny-looking stubble, and he liked it. So he can like that, but somehow artwork that Worm did for Keffals was transphobic. Again, it kind of goes back to the main point that he was pearl clutching all along. He just saw that the internet of his side was saying it was transphobic. He was like, well, I guess that's my reason to hate Mutahar. And then Muta would actually make a video called This Guy Just Keeps Slandering Me. And he, you know, he gives a summary of the whole situation in the typical Some Ordinary Gamer style. And he actually takes some snippets of the actual racism that Shadow said in his video, like about how the Appalachians was mostly white, and if they're from Appalachia, you just have to assume that they're racist.
Now, I'm going to play one snippet from this video where he actually talks about Appalachia in a very wild sense, a area of the United States that covers about 18 actual states, okay? So let's actually listen to this banger.
Deep Appalachia is very white country, and for the most part, is exceptionally racist. Genuinely in this part of the country, you have to assume that any white person you meet is racist unless they show you otherwise.
Don't worry, buddy, I'm sure you're one of the good white guys out there, but this is one of those statements that I kind of wanted to talk about because honestly, it kind of paints a perspective for what this person's, like, you know, view of the world really is. Now, I'm sure that obviously there is definitely racism in some deep parts of the United States. That's not a shocking thing for many people to consume. But to broadly paint nearly every white guy living out there really serves as a statement to further separate society.
And now, of course, WillyMacShow would make another great video called The Most Racist Leftist Slanders Everyone, featuring Wendigoon, which, you know, Wendigoon is like an impossible character to reach out to, especially if he follows you and you have the ability to follow him back and message him, which, again, Zane didn't want to do because he was scared of him. Regardless, the WillyMac video would kind of cover all of this, and he would even ask Wendigoon about the drama, which of course he was involved in, and Wendigoon would say that Zane never even reached out, and he would have been more than happy to clear some of the things up for the video, and despite it being a clear hit piece, you know, he was more than willing to provide him with accurate information.
There is no evidence that Wendigoon radicalized anybody. Extremists stole the meme. That's all the evidence available. I asked Wendigoon if Zane ever reached out to him before making his video. He said no, he never reached out. There was a lot he got wrong, even objectively, that I would have been happy to clear up even for a hit piece. For instance, my parents were not rich. In the quote he even reads, I say my dad lost everything, and that was all before I was born. So Zane never even reached out for clarification before assuming the worst from this guy and everyone who's ever appeared in a photo with him.
And the funnier thing about that is that Zane would post Wendigoon's response to Willy in his Discord and beg his fans not to screenshot and post it, which, of course, it would be screenshotted in post, kind of like the community note and kind of like the Patreon post. It's the internet, bro. If you're going to say things, especially when you're like a controversial figure, a lolcow at this point, people are going to go to your sites and they're going to pay you money so that they can essentially make more content off of you. I'm not saying that like WillyMac or anyone did that. I'm just saying that fans of like these larger creators will do that so they can help them have more information on these lolcows. It just happens. And he would also mention that Wendigoon did apologize for the hate he was receiving, and even encouraged his followers to not continue it in a comment on the now deleted video, which of course wasn't enough for Zane. And he would say that it wasn't enough time to fully reflect on everything going on. Now, mind you, the Wendigoon section of this video, the part where he had slandered Wendigoon and all his buddies, it was only like an hour long. So if you put it on 2 hour or 2 times speed and you just kind of watched it, like, it wouldn't be long. And it would take, you know, Wendigoon maybe 10 minutes to say, oh, well, I mean, he accuses me of encouraging my followers to go and call him slurs and whatnot. So that can be my main point, because that's kind of what Zane says started all of this. If Zane would have never received hate from Wendigoon, or he wouldn't have been the one guy in the horror community that you can't critique without being called slurs, then this video probably would have never existed. This whole drama never would have even happened. So of course that's going to be Wendigoon's main comment, and that's all he needed to say. He just said, hey man, like, look, I'm sorry, like, your content's pretty good. I followed you because you made this cool Slender Man video, and you know, there was no ill intention behind it. I didn't follow you because I wanted to say like, I'm watching you, pal. It was more just, I liked something you did, despite us not agreeing politically or agreeing on everything in life. I like the work that you do, and we are essentially co-workers in the, you know, commentary community on YouTube and the horror niche of YouTube. And he would also say people outside of his circle seem to be seeing this as a bad response. Only time will tell, though. Again, this whole thing is interesting because he's already edited the Wendigoon part out. He's issued his community note. He's issued his Patreon post. He deleted the video. He's announced that he's going on a break. Mind you, that was 3 days ago. He was supposed to be going on a break, a mental health, you know, break so he can cool down. But, you know, today, just 3 hours ago, he's still saying only time will tell, though. He's still reading and watching and looking and engaging in the content that has apparently, caused him so much trauma and so much harm in such a short time. And I'm really starting to think that this whole entire situation was just a way for this guy to grow. And some people might look at that and say it's dumb, because why would you risk throwing away your YouTube channel and whatnot? But he won't. Nothing is going to come from this. Sure, there's going to be response videos of people calling him out, but again, we've seen this so many times with creators like Pokey, with Hassan, these pretty bad people who have bad opinions and bad takes and accuse people of bad things. Nothing happens to them because they happen to be on the side of inclusion and whatnot. You might think I'm just, that might be an offensive idea to say, but it's the truth. Zayn has this community of like these tanky commie people who hate Christians and conservatives, and that's a okay idea to them. That's an okay thing. Even on YouTube you can say, slurs to white people. You can get away with saying cracker and things like that. You might get like a 1-day ban on Twitch for saying something like that, or a ban in the chat. But these are things that have been made like socially acceptable somehow in this world, and nothing's gonna happen. Zayn might just come back in a month from now and drop like, another, what is he gonna make? Like why Annie is actually racist, or why the Wizard of Oz is for white supremacists, or Planet of the Apes is actually racist to black people. He's gonna do some stupid shit like this, and he's gonna come back to the internet like nothing happened. And that's kind of the rundown, guys. Again, I'll keep you guys updated, even though I don't really want to keep following this Zayn guy anymore, but it is entertaining. It's fun to be part of a forming of a lolcow. Maybe a year from now, we might see this guy pop back up again, starting more drama. This might be the new beginning of like a Tipster, a Keffels, a Wings of Redemption arc. Zayn might be the next big guy. We might even see this guy on a Hassan stream in the future, slandering even more people. But as of now, he's just kind of went AWOL everywhere. He's just hiding in plain sight, you could say, because he's not doing very well at it. Either way, guys, hope that kind of caught you up with everything you've missed regarding this drama. I hope to see you all in the next one, and I appreciate you all for coming on by. We've grown slowly but surely. We're moving up there, guys. I want to thank you for that. I really do appreciate it. Thanks for watching.